Good morning, everybody. Welcome to FT Kids. So good to see you. Hang on, I gotta fix my hair now that I'm on camera. I can kind of see. Okay, there we go. They don't have a makeup crew for me. We got a tech crew, no makeup crew. So we have to add someone on to here. Someone who's helping us out today, Pastor Jason. He's helping with the tech. Also with us today, I see that we have Mr. Derek. We've got Paris, me, Mrs. Karen Pritchard, Ben, Becca, Alyssa, Haley, Gavin, Luke, Sadie, Fiona, Jack, Anna, Quinn, Mrs. Collins, Eli, Noah, Sammy, Gianna, Piper, and Ben. I don't think I said Ben. It is so good to have all of you here. It's really, really great. You know, last week there weren't a lot of us, and I thought about you a lot this week. I thought about each of you, actually, and your families, and I did some thinking and some praying for you, and look, now we're all back together. So happy, so excited. It's fantastic. Welcome, everybody. So Mr. Derek's on the chat, and we are going to get going starting about the Sermon on the Mount. So the Sermon on the Mount, as we know, is Jesus' most famous sermon. It's called the Sermon on the Mount because he stood on a hill or a mountain, mount, short for mountain, and that's where he preached from. Sort of like standing up on a stage so you're higher than other people, and then you can look down and they can see you easily and hear you. So that's what we had there. And each week we've added a symbol to help us remember what we've learned. So this week, we're going to put an arrow. And our arrow is going to point up towards heaven. So let me make our arrow. There we go. There's our arrow. And we're going to put it on, and we're going to make sure it's pointing up towards heaven, because this week's message is that Jesus said he is the only way to heaven. So that's why we put that there. I want to talk a minute about how we get to church. Now, there are lots of different ways that we get to church. I want to talk about how I get to church, and you can put in the chat, how do you get to church? Like, do you know any of the streets that you ride on? Do you come in a car or a minivan? Do you stop at your grandparents first and then come with them? Do you know the route you take? You don't have to say the street names. Maybe you might just go down a long road and turn. Let me talk about how I get to church. So I get in my car and I back out of my driveway, and then I drive down my street and I pass the Kopex house, and then I make a left-hand turn at the stop sign. And then I go 2 more stop signs and I make a right. And I go down this really long street. It's called Brighton Road. I pass a big blue airplane in a park. That's pretty fun. And then I keep going and I pass a pizza place. And I go a little farther and I pass a veterinarian and another pizza place and a drugstore. And then I get to Kemmer East High School, and that's where I can make a choice. I can either turn into the neighborhood and drive through the neighborhood to church, or I can go down a little bit farther on Brighton and then turn into the neighborhood and take a street straight to church. Looks like the Kopex do the same thing. Imagine that, us being neighbors. Or maybe you can think about how you're getting to church today. What did you do to get online to get to Sunday school today? The Florios take their minivan. Lombardos take their minivan. How did you get online for church today? Did you go on your own tablet? Are you watching on the television? Are you on mom or dad's phone? How are you watching today? When I watch at home, I have one of 2 ways of doing it. Sometimes I go on my iPad and I watch on there. And sometimes, just like the Florios, I put YouTube up on our television and then I get to watch there. So I'm curious, where are you watching? And maybe you're watching and chatting on 2 different devices. The Henrys are on their Fire Stick on TV. Excellent. Very good. So even if I'm watching on TV, if I want to text or chat, I should say, I usually use my phone because I can type faster than I can on my iPad. Oh, let's see. Quinn says, this is how she gets to church, like in person. She goes in her mom's Telluride. They go down Workley to Brighton, and then they go to the street the church is on. Or, right now, on days like this, she gets out of bed and uses her mom's phone or computer. Sammy and Gianna are watching on the TV. The Florios use their iPad to do the chat. Alyssa and Becca use mommy's phone, and then you stream on the TV. So you're chatting on a different place than you're watching. Lombardo's my dad's help watching on TV. That is awesome that Dad helps you, Haley and Gavin. That's so cool. Sometimes we do need an adult's help. Me, I usually need my daughter's help. It happens. Let's see. Oh, yes, let's see. This is Paris. He usually has his house staff drive him by a big van from Kenmore Avenue to Sheridan Drive to the boulevard. And that's how Paris gets to church. Yeah, Pulvers, we turn on the TV. Yeah.
They have to have med staff trained how to use the agency vehicles
Yes.
to maneuver our vans.
Absolutely.
Non-certified drivers can't drive until they pass a training and get training.
So Paris has staff who has to be trained specially to drive their vans. The Pulvers, let's see. That would be Fiona. We turn on the TV and then go to YouTube and click Sunday School. That is a great way to get there. And let's end with the Henrys. They do the same thing for virtual, mom or dad, using mom or dad's phone, but they haven't found a way since moving in November. Got it. Okay. Well, it is so cool to hear all the different ways that you take to get to church, either in person or virtually. We could even say that that is a path you take to get to church. Well, we have found that there is more than one way to get here. You can do it virtually on an iPad, a TV, a phone. You could do it in person down all sorts of different streets. You could do both ways. I had 2 routes I could take when I was driving. You know what, though? There is only one path or one route to get to heaven, and that is Jesus. So we're going to find out more about that today. But first, let's go to our song. It is called I Will Follow God. And if you feel like dancing or singing, get up, move around, and enjoy yourself. We'll be back very soon.
It's the greatest feeling to know I'm doing it right. Whoa, my world is better with God in charge of my life. Whoa, every day, all the way, I will take a stand to follow
Welcome back, everybody. I thought that was a really fun song. I loved watching it and having all the streets zip around behind them. And did you notice all the kids were bundled up? It looked like they were outside on a very cold day. Kind of reminds me of our weather. Yeah, but that works really well, that video, with what we're talking about today. Not just the words and the message, but also we saw them driving and taking paths, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about ways to get to heaven, and there's only one, and that is through Jesus. I put a little something up here. Did you notice? We have 3 bags. One bag has, we'll call it a prize in it. It's a little note to say, hey, you found the right bag. And we have paths leading to every bag. We have path A, we have path B, and we have path C. Could you please put in the chat which path, which yarn path, you think leads to the bag with the prize? Do you think it's A? Do you think it's B? Or do you think it's C? Which path leads to the prize? And no, you can't see in the bags, can you? Okay, we've got an A. Two votes for C. Paris is writing his. Quinn says A. Paris is going A. So far we have 3 votes for A, 2 votes for C. Oh, finally you got a B. Thanks, Fiona. Noah and Ben, 2 for A. Oh, Anna says B. Alyssa and Becca are going with B. Any other votes? Does path A take you to the prize? Does path, I think it's fun too, Paris. Does path B take us to the prize?
I like doing this activity.
I'm so glad. Haley says A. Anyone else for C? What do you think about C?
This helps me get involved like everybody else to be included.
Yes. Okay, we got some more A's. All right, we're winding down. We're winding down. Here we go. Let's find out. I'm going to start with this path. This is path A. So I'm going to pull off the tape. All right, we're going to follow our path. So I have it taped along. Oh, Eli, you're changing it to B? Okay, go with B. All right, so I'm going to follow the path. It's taped so that we could have our zigzags and stuff. So here we go. Following A, following A, following A. Oh, A goes to the middle bag. Okay, I'm going to reach inside. Actually, we can take it right off. Here we go. Let's open it up. And if this has the little note with the prize, it'll fall out. Are you ready? Count with me. 3. Oh, Gianna and Sammy say B. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh. Wah, wah, wah. Not path A. Okay. We had a lot of votes for B. Let's check B. Here we go. Following path B. Goes this way. And it goes this way. And it went way up here. And then, all the way over to this side. Yep. And then we went across. And can you believe it? We went all the way back to this side. And through the middle. And oh my goodness, here we go. Path B went to this bag. Let's check this bag. Okay, count it down with me. Ready? Oh, hang on. I'm still taped together. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Wah, wah, wah. Well, then I'm guessing it must be C. And it goes this way and up and back to the other side. Boy, I hope there's a prize in here. Okay, we're going to count it down again and see what happens. 3, 2, 1. We found the prize. It says, you win. Congratulations, you found it. Hey, I have a couple questions for you about this. How did you decide which path to follow? Those of you who chose path A, why did you choose path A? If you chose path B, why did you choose path B? How did you do that? And wait, if you chose path C, what made you decide that, you winner chicken dinners? I want to know. How did you choose? I mean, I made it tricky. I didn't tell you which bag had the prize. You couldn't see in the bag. And the paths went back and forth, and you weren't here to trace them with your finger. You know, that's what I was thinking of doing if I were trying to figure it out here, but you couldn't. Oh, Fiona, what did you say? I chose path B because no one was picking it. Alyssa and Becca just guessed. Okay. Yeah. I've been using that emoji a lot recently. I feel like that's kind of our life. Don't know what's next. Why else did you pick your path? Haley just said she felt like it. That was the one she felt was best. Any other ways that you picked? Did you follow the path with your eyes at all? I was wondering if anyone would try to do that. That's why I made it so tricky. Well, okay, Quinn just guessed. All right. Now that you know where the prize was, how do you feel about the choice that you made? Are you happy with the choice you made? Are you disappointed? Oh, one of the Florios did follow it. They followed with their eyes, or maybe they traced on the screen. So cool. You and I think alike. So I'm wondering, are you happy with what you chose? Do you like that path? What do you think about it? Yeah, you're happy that you chose it. Piper's happy even though she didn't win. Okay. Kopex say it was fun no matter what. Yeah, we were saying that too. Paris and I were having fun with this. Yeah, sure, Fiona says it's okay. Yeah, I was telling Miss Sue before church today, I was excited about today's lesson. I thought this was going to be so much fun.
Looks like a game changer.
It is like a game changer.
See in the beginning, but hey, I didn't win second times around, but that's okay.
Paris says it's okay. Eli says meh, because he changed his mind. Well, you know, in this game, there was only one right path. There was only one right answer, and that was C. And Jesus said God's kingdom is like that too. So we're going to read from the Bible, which we know is God's true story. So we're going to Matthew 7, verses 13 and 14. And I told you last week, this is one of my most favorite parts of the whole Bible. It's titled The Narrow Gate. You can enter God's kingdom only through the narrow gate. The road to destruction is broad, and its gate is wide for the many that choose that way. But the gateway of life is very narrow, and the road is difficult, and only a few ever find it. So let me read that first part again. You can enter God's kingdom only through the narrow gate. Narrow means skinny, or it means the opposite of wide. We could say thin. Oh, Sammy, I'm sorry you aren't happy with your choice. I know. What a bummer. The next part says, The road to destruction is broad. Broad is like saying wide. And its gate is wide for the many people who choose that way. So what this is saying is a lot of people choose the easy way, the way that does not lead to heaven, though. It says the gateway to life, which means heaven, is very narrow. You got to really work to fit on it. And the road can be difficult. Unfortunately, only a few ever find it. Well, the good news is you and I have found it. It is Jesus, and that is why we're here watching FT Kids today. The road to heaven is narrow, and it can sometimes be difficult. What would make the path to heaven difficult? What kinds of things do we have to do when we follow Jesus that could be challenging? Can you think of something and put it in the chat? Something that would make following Jesus, that narrow path to heaven, challenging. When is it not easy to do what you know you should when you're following Jesus? If you need a little hint, I have this picture here. You know, sometimes getting angry, and it's okay to have that feeling or that emotion, but it's how you show it. If that means you're going to yell at somebody or be unkind, yeah, anger, right. You have to know how to control it and not hurt others with it. Because it's frustrating. You know, sometimes it is frustrating. You might want to yell at someone. You might want to hit a sibling, brother or sister, but you can't. Because that is not making a good, kind, peaceful choice like Jesus has shown us. Being mean, yeah, saying things that could hurt someone's feelings. I have a couple other thoughts. Yeah, Quinn, you agree it's frustrating? Yeah, it can be. Absolutely. Oh, Paris is writing something down, and while he is, I'm going to show you this one. Bad words. See how it's in a speech bubble? Yeah. Sometimes it's challenging. Oh, when there's work to be done. Yep. You know, saying bad words or unkind words, can't do that. Lies. Think about those commandments we've learned about. Thou shalt not lie. Yeah. It can be a challenge because you can't just do what you want. You have to do what you've learned is right and what Jesus wants for us. You know, in our game, you could only guess what the right path was. You really had no way to know for sure because you didn't even know where the winning note was. But the path to God's kingdom and the path away from God don't look the same. Here, a lot of our paths looked similar, and our bags, well, they pretty much all looked the same. But the path to heaven and the path away do not look the same at all. And Jesus made it really clear for us to know what the narrow path is. So we're going to leave Matthew for a minute and go into John. We're going to read John 14, verse 6. Jesus told him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me. He is saying, I am the way. I am the only way to heaven. So in our game, only one path led to the prize. And in the same way, Jesus is the one path to heaven. But we don't have to guess at all. Jesus made it really easy for us to find the right path. We are learning that Jesus is the only way to heaven. Let's think about some things that we can do in different ways. Maybe You remember last week, if you were with us, that I was hoping for some Oreos for a snack because I was pretty hungry. Ooh, I think that was actually 2 weeks ago. Well, today I have some Oreos. I want to know, how do you eat an Oreo? Do you just take it and bite into it? Do you do something with it first? How do you eat an Oreo? Can you tell me in the chat? I'll tell you how I eat mine once I get some of your answers. I have a feeling there are a couple different ways if I had to guess. Mr. Derek's laughing. He must have a particular way that he eats Oreos. Perhaps they eat them in a couple different ways in his family. Okay, let's see. Piper takes it apart and eats the frosting. Quinn pulls it apart, licks the cream, and then eats each side. So pulls it apart, licks the frosting, and then eats each side. Noah says the same thing. Cream first, then the cookie. Eli takes two. Oh, okay, check this out. Eli takes two, takes one side off of each, and puts the frosting sides together for a mega Oreo. Can you imagine what that would be like with a double stuffed Oreo? Frosting City! Let's see. Paris unscrews it and then licks the frosting. So he doesn't pull it apart. He does this. Ready? He unscrews it. Twist. Look.
I used to do that when I was a kid.
All right, let's see. Kopex say that we take the tops off and lick the frosting. Oh, whereas I hold mine like that. Okay, take off the top. Gianna eats them dipped in milk. That's what my dad does. Oh, you've got a thumbs up here from Pastor Jason about dipping it in milk.
Brings me back memories.
Lots of memories from Paris. Ben says he just eats it. I would, but I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to talk if I'm chewing.
Kinds of Oreos
There
now.
are different Oreos.
They have peanut butter. They have those Christmas.
Yes, so many different ones. Oh, looks like the Lombardos, they also take the top off and put them together. Oh,
Yeah,
Miss,
they got vanilla ones.
they do have vanilla ones. And Mrs. McHugh says, keep it together, dip it in milk. So many different ways to eat an Oreo. So many choices. But you know what? There's more than one way to eat an Oreo. However, there's only one way to heaven. That's Jesus. So we're going to make a little obstacle course now, and we're going to make a narrow path to the goal. So let me just move a couple things out of the way. See, this is why I couldn't eat my Oreos right now. Set them aside. All right. This is where having paper and tape will be helpful. But if you don't have it now, you can always do this later. And you might actually end up, adding some more details to your obstacle course. So we're going to take our paper, and we are going to roll it into a narrow, a thin, a skinny tube. And we're going to tape it so it stays in that tube. Now, I'm just getting my tape ready because I'm afraid it's going to unroll. Okay. So if I were going to make a wide tube, it would probably look like this. However, it has to be narrow. This is a big difference from what I showed you. Okay, can you roll your paper? It can be big, small, whatever. I like to use bigger paper so you can see it on the camera, but you could even use a sticky note and that would work. Okay, we're gonna do this. And then before you tape the end, you might wanna tear it off because we're gonna need a little piece of paper, like a ball, for our obstacle course. Now, if you don't have tape, you could always use a rubber band, I was thinking. We just want to somehow get it to stay in one place. So if you have a rubber band, I don't know, you just have to work on it. And then, like I said, we're going to need a little ball for our obstacle course. So I don't need this whole thing. I'm just going to tear off a piece, scrunch it up, and make a ball. So you can go ahead and work on that. Now, whoa, rolling everywhere. Okay, so that I don't have it rolling around on the camera, I'm just gonna put a little piece of tape here too, just to hold it onto the table. Don't tape on your family's good coffee table. You know, the one where you're supposed to put a coaster under your drink? Yeah, do not put tape on there, but you could on the floor or another table like this. Okay, so there's mine. You keep working. While you're working, I added some things. I made these, you know, and we've already looked at them. I'm going to add them to my obstacle course. So, bad words. Again, I'm just taping it so that they definitely stand up for you. Lies. There we go. And we got one more here. You said maybe this is like anger, could be like being unkind. I think I'm going to put that over here. So just like our game with the bag, we have somewhere we want to get to. We want to get through the tunnel, through here, to the prize. Now, I could take this little ball and hit it with my finger and go on this wide path, the broad road to get to my prize. But look what I had to do to get there. I had to tell lies. All right, I'm going to try the other way. Ooh, to go this way, I had to say some bad words. And I got really angry and unkind to people. And you know what? When we do that, we don't win the prize. It looks like we're getting there, but we don't. We miss out and the prize leaves. But if you can get your ball, just hitting it like maybe with your finger, if you can knock it into the tube, whoop! I knocked it so hard I forgot about the tape. Hang on. Redo, redo, redo. That's why it's narrow. It's not easy. Okay, here we go again. Redo. Oh dear. Redo, take 3. Got to try with that tape again. 4, take 4. This is why they have editing on television shows. Okay, here we go. Okay, there we go. Just keep it in one spot. Okay, here we go. Now, if I can get it in that tube, in that tunnel. I got it in! I win. What do we have here? Oh, we have a little bit more about an Oreo. Zelda smushes her Oreo with milk in a mug, puts it in the microwave, and then eats it with a spoon. That sounds actually really good. It would be like a warm cookie and milk. I like it. I'm wondering, have any of you tried your obstacle course? Were you able to get the ball in your tube? Anyone try it yet? If you did, let me know. I'm really curious. And while we're thinking about that, or you're writing about that, I'd like to know, how did this obstacle course remind you that Jesus is the only way to heaven? Hey, both Alyssa and Becca did it. Way to go. So now how does this remind you of the path to heaven? Got to do some thinking. Let me remind you. Narrow path to a reward. Broad path. And the reward was gone. What's that? How's that like the narrow path to heaven? Or the way it's written in the Bible, the narrow gate. I'm so thankful that Mr. Derek is a fast typer and can spell very well. We know that's not like me, right, Gianna? Right, Quinn? Oh, Gianna and Sammy both tried. They were able to get the ball in. That's awesome. So how is that like the path to heaven? Maybe think about what's on my broad path. Think about where that narrow one led us. Any thoughts? Paris is writing down one. He writes his ideas, whereas you type your ideas. The Kopecks say we kept at it, and it was a great feeling when we got in it. So lots of woohoo for heaven! Yay! You know, we do have to keep at it. Yeah, we have to make sure that we can keep making good choices. Anna says, because sin won't lead to heaven. You're right. We could go through these. I'll check in 1 second. We could go these ways where there was sin, but it didn't lead to heaven because our reward left. What did you say, Paris? Let's see what he said. Oops.
Sorry.
Yes, yes. When family members pass, it is very emotional. Quinn, you finally got it. That's awesome. Well, you know, this course only had one way to win, through the tunnel. It didn't have more than one path. You could only take one. Well, Jesus is kind of like the tunnel in our course. He is the only way to heaven, and there's no other path that you can take to get there. And that is where we're going to end today, remembering there's only one path to get us to heaven. So we're going to say a prayer to wrap up. Then I'm going to talk just a little bit about great job, Haley and Gavin. That's so awesome. You got it. And then I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the things to come, and we'll be done. So, actually, let's talk about the things to come first and some of the fun things going on here at First Trinity. So one of the things that's going on right now, it actually happened last night, was some of the older kids had a talent show. And right here, can I do it without standing? I can. Lydia Reed showed some beautiful calligraphy. Yeah. And the reason for this talent show was to try to start, it was like a kickoff, to get people to give donations. And then these older kids next month are going to put all these donations of snack foods together and give them to workers who are essential, or we've been hearing the words frontline workers. You know, those people who they have to work even though there's a virus going on, like people in the hospital, or maybe firefighters or police officers. Some other great things that are going on are we have church services on Wednesday nights because it's Lent. And of course, we have church on Sunday, either online or here. And coming up, we're going to finish Sermon on the Mount. We're going to talk about Easter time and those celebrations that are coming up. In FT Kids, we're also going to start interviewing some people right here in our church and find out what they do here. And then in April, we're hoping to start some lessons with families and maybe even get a chance to do online and in person. Such exciting things. All this leads to Jesus. All this leads to heaven. So let's pray and say a thank you. You might want to fold your hands, bow your head, maybe close your eyes, and you can repeat after me. Dear Jesus, thank you for teaching us about the narrow path and for reminding us that you are the only way to heaven. Amen. Have a great week, everybody. I'll see you next Sunday.